Jai Gurudev. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Chaiva Tato Jayamudirayet. Jai Gurudev. Yeah, let's share our takeaways from these beautiful shlokas.
Hari Om Brahmaraji, may I just request shloka 4 and 6 before we proceed for Manana, present chapter. If we just see the Tatparya and the purport.
Problem. Yeah, I'm sharing. I'm sharing it. One second.
Thank you.
Maya tatamidam sarvam jagadavyaktamurtina matsthani sarvabhutani nachaham teshvavastitaha. Maya, by me, avyakta murtina, whose form cannot be objectified. Idam sarvam jagat, this entire world. Tatam is pervaded. Sarva bhutani, all beings. Matsthani, have their being in me. Nacha aham, and I am not. Teshu avastitaha, based in them. This entire world is pervaded by me, whose form cannot be objectified. All beings have their being in me, and I am not based in them. And then immediately after this is verse 5, which says, Nacha matsthani bhutani pashyame yogamaishwaram bhuta bhrinnacha bhutastaha mamatma bhuta bhavana. Nacha matsthani bhutani, and the beings do not exist in me. Me, my, Aishwaram Yogam, that which belongs to the Ishvara, connection to the Jagat, Pashyasi, Mama Atma, myself, Bhuta Bhavanaha, is the creator of beings, Bhuta Bhrit, the sustainer of Nacha Bhutastaha, and not residing in the beings. And the beings do not exist in me. Look at this Aishwara connection of mind to the Jagat. Myself is the creator of the beings, the sustainer of the beings, and yet is not residing in the beings. Yatha kashastito nityam vayu sarvatra gomahan tatha sarvani bhutani matsthani tyupadharaya. Yatha, just as, mahan vayuhu, vast air, sarvatra gaha, which goes everywhere, nityam akashastitaha, always exists in space, tatha, similarly, sarvani bhutani vatsthani, all beings exist in me, iti upadharaya, thus may you understand. Just as the vast air which goes everywhere always exists in space. Similarly, may you understand that all beings are me.
We have done until 8, right?
We've done until 8, yeah, but I think we'll discuss, we'll do Manana on these three, because
Okay.
these three are on one aspect, no? And then,
Okay.
of course, he comes to the creator, and verse 6 is not verse 6. Verse 7 is Sarva Bhutani Kaunteya Prakritim Yanti Mamikam Kalpakshaye Punastani Kalpadau Visrijamyaham. He talks of the dissolution, Kalpadau, Kalpakshaye, and how all beings, Arjuna, go to my Prakriti at the dissolution of the cycle of creation. Again, at the beginning of the cycle, I create them.
After the fourth and fifth shloka, uh, I couldn't take much, but I need to give away something which is confusion.
I think the fourth sloka is saying that the God perverts, I perverts in everything, and all objects subsist in me. That means the objects, so all the other beings, like weak objects in me, and that Brahman is not in them because he is not an object. So that seems like the meaning in that one, I think. And then the same, and the fifth one sloka says basically that namastani, those, what is that called? Nacha mastani bhutani. Yeah, those beings are not abide in me. That means basically there's I was thinking all this material world that is created in this world, that they are in him, but not he is not in those material things.
So he's talking with the reference to Maya, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maya has been created by him. But when it comes to just seeing Maya, he's not in that because it is a illusion.
There is two different way, right? The para and apara thing, so the Maya side of the one created the mithya. The real one is not created. Real one created everything, but then there is that Ishvara thing, that's a Maya. I believe that objects do not abide in me. That's what I thought. It's cannot be objectified. So this is the one, right? The entire world is perverted by me, but whose form cannot be objectified. So you have to only see yourself. All beings have their being in me. I'm not based in them.
Yeah, this mirage thing analogy will little bit help to understand, I think, because there is
he did
really
say
no
about
water.
sun. Yeah, he mentioned about the sun and the mirage, and even though there is no, if there's mirage or not, the sun is there. So like that, the God is there, so whether this beings, mithya is there or not. So he's not depending on them or he's based on them. That's what the thing I felt.
Yeah,
I don't know if somebody can tell something different. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's just understanding what is Satyam and what is Mithya.
Yeah.
This is my understanding. So the other, when he says he's there in everything, but or he created everything, but I am not in them. What he actually means is those things are just the name and form, right?
Yeah.
Name and form is Mithya.
Right.
So if you take the clay and pot, maybe it becomes very clear. Pot itself does not really exist, right? It's just a name and form.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah,
clay. Clay
same.
is the ultimate substratum on which the pot stands. But pot
Mhm.
by itself is not there.
Yeah, and the same thing like wood, the making chair or something like that. There's so many similes there.
But it is
Yeah.
the same wood with which chair has been made, or it's the same mud with which the pot has been made.
Correct.
So,
but pot is not there. Pot by itself is not there.
Yeah,
yeah,
It
that
It
depends
is
pot
a
on.
is what
transient.
is.
It is a transient state of the clay, which is
Yeah.
called pot, but
Yeah.
it has its own uses also.
No,
Yeah.
Though
uses
it
are
is
there.
mithya, but it has its applications and uses. Like wood also, it
Yeah, it's
has
a transient.
its
It is
uses as a
transient, right? Okay. So
transient. Yeah.
whatever the object, which can be changed, that is the transient one. That's a temporary, it's impermanent. So if you take clay, even if the pot or whatever vessels you make out of it, it will break and then it will come back to clay only.
Correct.
The
It will
same
come back
thing
to
with the
clay only.
gold, the same thing, you make different ornaments and it will come back to gold, so that's the creation from that source.
but the mud will
But-
remain, right? Whether it is mud, raw mud, or it is a pot, or if it is a broken pot.
No, but
The mud will be always there, isn't it?
no. But mud is there. But is the pot there? Pot is not
Okay.
there. So
Yeah.
pot is mithya. Pot depends on clay for its existence.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So
it is not asatya. It is not asatya because pot has its own usage in between. Though it is a transient state for the clay, but pot, that is why this mithya jagat, otherwise we can just like asatya bolke, we
So
cannot
the
reject this
bottom line
world.
is
I
bottom
have to
line
because-
is
take
here
bath,
the
I have to eat, I have
existence.
to maintain this body, even if it is mithya.
correct.
I had to maintain and maintain the rules of the. It is just because it is mithya, I cannot reject it.
So
When I
you
go
are
on the
trying
road, I have
to
to follow the laws.
And
understand
mud
the,
is there in the form and the
okay.
name pot. But
Okay,
there is a
that is
mud
the
over there.
existence, right? We are talking about the Atma, which is like existent consciousness and the bliss. So when you're talking about that existence is always there, so something
Yeah.
is not
The
exist,
isness is always
And
there.
all pervading
Yeah.
also, all pervading. That is why Nana said, no, Atma
Yeah.
Bodh and Tattva Bodh also is coming up here and there, and you need to be very steadfast in that knowledge. Don't forget.
So
Right.
how does the fifth shloka fit in here? Because in the pot also he's there, where he is not there in the pot. He's there, but in the fifth shloka he says he's not there. That's what is little confusing for me.
So when you
Yeah,
look at the
which is what
Advaita
Maya.
aspect,
No, but that is reason is Manalji, the pot is a name and form we gave. It's there. He's there everywhere. He's there, all pervading, right? We are not saying, but when we say he's in the pot, meaning in terms of clay can't say I am in the pot, right? Without clay, pot is not there. So he can't say I am in the pot. This is maybe it's more of a what should I say?
Without mud, where how can the pot be?
Yeah, pot cannot be, right?
Yeah.
Pot cannot
See,
be.
So
this
how
is
can
a
we
bit
say he's not in the pot?
okay. This is a higher understanding. This is again pertaining to Maya. Maya is Bhagavan's upadhi with which he created everything. But Maya is a mithya. So Bhagavan, though created all this through his Maya power, he is not present in that. The Satchit Ananda, probably that is the Bhagavan is not present in that, yet he is all pervading in his creations as well. This is my understanding.
Well, it's a nature of those things. Like I believe that the Prakriti comes in that one, right? Like Like in the flower, he's like that fragrance. In the, ice is that coldness or something like that. So it's more of the nature rather than, I don't know, he's the wedding. Yeah, material things and immaterial things.
Hari Om.
The qualities are also from Maya Jagita only, no? Triguna Atmika. They are also from Maya only, all these qualities. Because Brahman is Nirguna, is attributeless, isn't it?
But he's not abiding in them. That's what it says, right? This fifth verse is his. Can we move this up a little bit to see
Yeah.
the
Yes, he is
meaning?
not abiding in them because he is that Nirguna. Bhagavan here is talking about the Nirguna Brahman.
Nirguna
So
Brahman.
as Nirguna Brahman, he is not abiding in the
In the Maya.
Trigunatmika and all, in the Maya, creation of the Maya. Yet, because Maya is his power, he is present in that as well.
So here it says, myself is the creator of the beings and the sustainer of the beings, and yet is not residing in the beings. So he's creating it and maintaining it, but not residing in it.
Yes, he has given qualities and all those nature, everything, which is mithya. So that way he is not in them. But since he is the creator of even this mithya, and he is the maintainer of everything, but he is not dependent on his creation. He is independent. He is on his own.
Why
This
did
is a
he
bit
do
of
that?
higher knowledge, I think.
In the first place, why did he do that if he didn't want to be part of it?
That goes back to thing, no? I want only Bhagavan was there. Then he said, let me create and watch the fun. So that's the thing.
That creating the universe, you have to go back to the
Sometimes,
beginning of this thing. Yeah.
Jagruda, sometimes it is better, like we analyze, we try to understand with our mind and intellect and discuss. And at one point, you need to just surrender to the shloka and the shloka's ultimate this thing, and just be. And uh, everything is revealed in our own consciousness. Have that trust. It happens so beautifully. So discuss, and end of the day, just surrender the whole shloka to Krishna only. He will reveal the things so beautifully in your heart. It happens.
Yes.
Right.
And he's
So if
freeing you from these, he's actually freeing you from these attachment to those trigunas and objects, everything.
So if
what,
you take your body as example, right? So you think it's in your arm or leg or somewhere the God is there. We say this is the material, right? So like our body itself, like, so we've been human being, we are a being. And if you take that and if you see that this consciousness, is it in your arm or leg? No, right? And it is the
It's there
consciousness.
through and through.
It
is there through and through.
No, that is that the life force that's going through the whole thing, that is there. But I'm saying this consciousness is the part of that mind. This is where he said you are not going to know through the senses, you're not going to through this other indriyas, and you are only able to understand the Atma through the mind. So in that sense, you're looking at Brahman. Where is this Brahman is, like in the whole world? Where is he? So
Bela, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, Hari Om. As per my little understanding, what Puja Gurudev also had mentioned once, that it is the empty space. If the pot didn't have empty space, then it was of no use. In the same way, that empty space is that infinite. And that empty space, it is residing within us also. So the more hollow and empty we are, the better we are connected to that, the whole.
Very nice, very beautiful.
And like Nanaji once mentioned, no, all these slokas have to be looked at very holistically, not only that sloka, right? So somewhere in the earlier chapters, I don't know which chapter, there is a mention about Vyavaharika Satyam, Pratibhasika Satyam, and Paramartika Satyam, right? So the pot is like a Vyavaharika Satyam, transactional, right? So when we put the whole thing in context, then it starts to make sense. And as somebody mentioned, it will get revealed automatically internally. We will have our own answers that we need to know. Each one might be at different levels, and the questions we have and the answers we need to get may be different. I think that
True.
happens.
These three shlokas are very contemplative. They seemingly are conflicting, but they're actually very contemplative.
Very, very profound, actually. Very
Yeah.
profound.
If you go deep within, from one angle, yes, Bhagavan is there. Atma is all pervading through in and through the creation that he has created. But when you look at it from the shloka 5 aspect, he's not in this, although he has created it. For me, the
Like
analogy
seeing the
of the
water,
dream, yeah, the dream
seeing the water.
analogy is quite same with same mirage, same with the rope and the snake. Anything that is mithya, it has it's not asat. There is that reality, yes, but actually it is not.
Hmm.
So that is the subtle thing that the more we contemplate, I think the answer will reveal itself.
Reveal
And
itself, yeah.
yeah,
And
It's
Asatya
like
and Mithya are
have the
different.
shraddha here.
Sorry, no, somebody mentioned about when we said Mithya, Asatya and Mithya are different. They are not the same.
Correct.
how can you please explain?
So Mithya needs something else for its existence, right? That doesn't mean it's Asatya. Like pot is there. We are not saying pot is not there. So it's not Asatya. But pot depends on clay for its existence. That's Mithya.
The example that Swamiji had given for asat is the horns of a man.
Horns of, yeah, which is
Mhm.
non-existent.
Yeah, that is non-existent. That is asat.
Mm.
Whereas I don't remember what example he had given for mithya at that point. I think the
This is a
snake
very
and the
common example is this only, pot and
yeah, pot
Mm.
and the correct.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you need see the mithya is what is when the upadana karana and the
nimitta karana.
nimitta karana is the same, then mithya happens. Here upadana karana, the I'm not able to get the English version, but
Material cause.
material, yeah, the actual cause and the material cause are the same. That
Correct.
is, Maya is Atma, is Brahma Janita, is an outcome of Brahma. So here the material cause as well as the absolute cause are the same. That is when Mithya happens. That transactional reality happens, which is actually not true because it does not have an absolute existence by itself. If you remove the sun, there is no mirage. If you remove the road, there is no mirage. Similarly, if you
Remove the
remove the
clay, there is
rope,
no pot.
yeah,
Right?
you remove the rope, where is the snake? The very thought of the snake comes because of the rope.
Mm.
Yeah, those are all the
Actually,
impression that was formed in your
Brahmanaji,
mind, right? So trying to
Yes,
recognize what it is. If you don't have those impressions, then you're not going to recognize it. Like
yeah,
snake and the rope.
snake and the rope, there is slight confusion for me in the sense that in case of that, there is more of a projection, a superimposition of
Superimposition,
yeah.
right?
Whereas in a clay and pot, there is
Clear.
no
Yeah.
superimposition. Actually, pot by itself is a name and form. It's there. We can see it's, in a particular shape when the clay is made. It's what we call a pot, right? So it's not like a projection. We can't call that a projection or a superimposition. Whereas in in rope and snake, it's slightly different. They say there are two, somewhere Gurudev also has explained, Vikshepa and Avarana, right?
Yeah.
So in the snake and rope, it's more like I'm not too good in Sanskrit, but one of these two.
That is mithya. See,
It's mithya, but it's different. It's more of your ignorance because of which you are seeing a snake over the rope. Rope is there, but rope is there. You're mistakenly or due to ignorance, you're seeing a snake, right?
Isn't that how Brahma and the Jagat is? The only thing that is there is Brahma. We are only
Jagat is also
superimposing
there.
the
No,
Jagat.
Brahmaji, Jagat is also there. Meaning, we
Yeah.
can't say Jagat is not there. Jagat is there. Like the pot is there, Jagat is there. But can this Jagat exist without the Brahman? No. Like the pot cannot exist without clay.
Correct.
So slight difference is there in the way we interpret the two examples. But both, yes, eventually it's mithya, we can call it. But I kind of understood it more when I understood pot and clay.
The pot analogy.
Yeah.
Pot.
The pot
The
analogy
snake-
is more in line with the creation. So
Correct.
creating
And the snake analogy could be used for ignorance and the jnana.
Correct.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the mithya
That's right.
aspect, you could use the
Pot.
snake and the rope.
I'm feeling this fifth shloka. It's like you call party at home and you are missing.
Yeah, that's also good.
Yeah. Nice.
Very funny.
Hi.
Partially are not there.
I think we should let the shlokas reveal itself by
Yeah, we
contemplation.
should let them
Yeah.
sink in. I think
Yeah.
what I suggest we do is, in order for us to be a little more strong in our fundamentals, maybe we will give
I
a
will-
pause to chapter 2 and just revisit Tattvabodh and Atmabodh once. Either we could do it on the Manana time, or
Yes,
maybe we could do it individually.
No,
Um,
Brahmaji, the thing I wanted to say, since we are moving faster, can we just review the way you have it, this Gita slogan, this Tatparya, Pradipada Artha? Because the more and more at least we review those slokas and then try to do our thing ourselves, the notes from the Dayananda Swamiji. I mean, we could do the Tattvabodha or not, but at least catch up with this slokas so that when Nana's coding other slokas, then at least it will help us to understand a little bit better.
yeah, I didn't quite understand what you want to suggest. See, we are doing chapter 8, the Pratipadartha, right?
This is 9 right now, but I'm
Sorry,
saying
9. Yeah.
in the Manana class, like
Huh.
what we can do, the same
Right.
thing, we could review those chapters, like say we are almost ending the second chapter, then start from the third chapter, so we can catch up those slokas and this arthas and see what we remember about it, and so that it will help us, I mean, that's a suggestion, but it's everybody what they want, that you guys can do what the thing is.
So are you suggesting that
Atmabodha
we
and
spend?
Tattvabodha just touch upon. It's not that in a very detailed manner we will be going, but it is needed, I think.
Yeah, we could just read it out, and maybe
Yeah.
the questions we'll keep it at the end so that we don't interrupt in between, and we can finish up in 1 or 2 days.
Yeah, just the chanting we can do and the meaning.
Yeah,
Mhm.
meaning part.
Yeah, the same way we could do the other chapters of Bhagavad Gita, like that's what I was.
So you mean, now I understood you. You mean we just do the Pratipadartha and leave the explanation
the
of the notes to us?
Right.
That's what you mean, so that we catch up with chapter 9.
Chapters, yeah. You mean the whole, from third chapter onwards, like we could catch up to the other before we get too far, right?
Yeah.
Like when Dad said today, I felt like, my God, that this second chapter where Krishna is telling Arjuna, hey, what are you doing? Like
Yeah.
I felt so
It is
bad. Like,
true, I agree, but then I think ultimately what is being what we're doing in the Manana, even if it's chapter 2, it's about the same principle. It's only,
it is, but then,
but
I'm
if you
not
leave it
sure.
to individual reading, Dr. Mara, I'm
Mhm.
not sure. I'm talking for
It
myself.
never happens.
Yeah, it is happening now because we are in this group. So
Yes.
Okay,
let it
we
happen.
can say that, do like 5 pages or something like that. You read it and then we can discuss it. Because when you're reading itself, it takes a while to get where we are getting, right? So I'm
Correct.
just suggesting that's
No,
all. I mean,
therefore I
whatever.
actually suggest that of
Mhm,
the 45 minutes of Manana, maybe we
mhm.
should be strict with just 15 minutes
With
of
our times, yeah.
with
With
our
our time.
the current chapter. We quickly
Mhm.
run through that, um, and then half an hour at least we spend on the home study PDF.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I suggest is tomorrow we'll do the Tattva Bodha. Maybe all of us can just listen to the Tattva Bodha chanting and then revise it ourselves. So then our understanding will get deeper. And then day after we can do Atma Bodha.
So you're not reading the text, you're just doing the sloka and the
Yeah,
meaning
the
of it.
shloka and the meaning. That's it. It will take
Okay.
about half an hour, I think, for Atma Bodh.
Yeah.
Actually, Nana and I had done both Tattva Bodh and Atma Bodh for
Yeah, I saw that one.
purposes. Yeah, let me
Yeah.
share those things. I think those are there in the
Yeah, I think so. On the
videos.
group description,
It's
I
there on the
saw that.
group. But
I
let's
think
go on.
so. Right now, I'm not on the. One second. Let me see.
So
Ah,
I know that little part is there with saying, oh, we have to catch up till chapter 9. My God. But then I think it's okay. We'll go little by little. The whole purpose is how much of Gita has gone through you. It is not how much we have gone through Gita, like what he said. We only have to be a little more steadfast and maybe leave out. That's what he re-emphasized today. Leave out all
yeah.
the non-important questions. They can crop up. I mean, I agree when I keep asking questions. So if we can just filter out those questions that are kind of relevant, then
Okay, I don't see it under group description.
not in the group
It says the
description. No, they were posted in the YouTube
YouTube.
videos. I will
Okay.
retrieve them and then post it there. You check it
Yeah,
out.
I remember seeing it on YouTube.
It is there in the results discussion.
Yeah, that is
Go
it.
go to the results description.
Okay, I think we'll talk about the videos later. We can check it out later. We'll go on to this. We'll get them. I'll post it. Don't worry, Dr. Mara. So we were doing this yesterday. The senses are not the villains. Swamiji was talking of senses as just the reporters, and then you fancy something, and it is your intellect which then decides whether you go about either following that fancy or withdrawing from it. So to go by what you want means you decide. The decision itself may be right or wrong, but you go by it and not by your fancies. The one who does not go by fancies who is able at will to withdraw one's sense organs is not in the hands of the senses. Sense pursuits do not happen for such a person without his or her signature and sanction. This person will then be able to gain jnana nishtha, steadiness in the knowledge of the self. Anyone can withdraw the senses. We must remember here that the person under discussion is a sthita prajna, one whose knowledge is firm and remains. Otherwise, anyone who is together can be taken as jnani, which is not true. The person we are discussing is either a sthita prajna or one who is committed to sthita prajnatva. I think we did even this, no?
Yes, we already
We
did.
did this. Yeah, we
Yeah,
talked
we
about
did all that. Yeah.
Yeah. We came to the next verse actually. The information in this verse is not provided in order to judge anyone, but so
Yes.
that you may understand how the mind and senses are meant to function.
Yeah, we ended this.
We ended here. Yeah. Further, Krishna said, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. Niraharasya, for the one who does not feed the senses. Dehinaha, for the one who indwells this body. Vishayaha, senses. Vinivartante, come back to oneself. Rasavarjam, leaving the longing behind. Param Brahman, Drishtva, having seen. Asya, of this person. Rasaha, longing. Api, even. Nivartate, goes away. For the one who does not feed the senses come back to oneself, leaving the longing behind. Having seen Brahman, that is, when the self is known, even the longing goes away. There is the possibility of a doubt here. Does this capacity to withdraw one's senses from the sense objects at will give the person jnana nishta? No. Even a complete fool can practice this technique. A yogi also actively engages in this discipline of withdrawing the senses. The sense organs can be withdrawn as a turtle withdraws its limbs. Therefore, you cannot say a person is a jnana nishtha merely because he or she can withdraw the senses and sit with himself or herself. Shankara presents this doubt here in order to deal with it. Even though people may not go along with their fancies, the taste for them will still be there. Therefore, is this not the practice of suppression rather than a withdrawal? We have seen how people blow up. The senses definitely get them sooner or later. If not today, then tomorrow. Why? Because everything is suppressed inside. Just 1 second. Can someone read? I have a call. Just
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll read it. Oh, you want
Yeah.
to read it? Go ahead.
Mara, please read.
Even though people may not go along with their fancies, the taste for them will still be there. Therefore, this is not the practice of suppression rather than a withdrawal. So I'll read that again. Even though people may not go along with their fancies, the taste for them will still be there. Therefore, is this not the practice of suppression rather than a withdrawal? We have seen how people blow up. The senses definitely get them sooner or later. If not today, then tomorrow. Why? Because everything is suppressed inside. When the value for something is inside a man, he will definitely deliver himself into the hands of his senses eventually, because he's not that master. The senses will get him. If he thinks he has enslaved them, he need only wait for certain situations to present themselves. He will find himself enslaved by his senses in no time. They will take him for a ride. In the wink of an eye, he will be gone totally. So that this part is really, it's really important, I think. Do you see this, Dr. Pramara?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to continue? Should
Yeah,
we
it's fine.
read this
You-
once again?
Yeah, I can read it if you want me to, so that's fine.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's fine. You can go ahead. Dr.
The
Maya.
taste lingers on. Thus, even an ordinary person can withdraw the senses, the taste, rasa, and the value for the fancies will still be there. Such a person feels that certain sense enjoyments are important, and without them, he or she cannot be happy. Suppose because this person is told that sense enjoyments are all very painful, he or she decide not to go after them. Then he or she might begin practicing withdrawal of the senses, but find that the rasa does not go away. Even those who already have a value for meditation and learn to withdraw the senses in order to discover ananda in themselves or gain inner contentment may continue to have a value for the enjoyments of the senses. The question is, when would the taste, the subjective value for sense enjoyments go? The subjective value is an emotional value. Suppose a person is not a fool and has viveka. He is intellectually convinced that sense enjoyments are of no use because they do not provide any real security or lasting pleasure. Even if this person has no intellectual value for sense enjoyments, he or she may still have an emotional value. Therefore, when and how will this emotional value go? The emotional value is very important and must be recognized as such. Emotion is a part of your life, a part of your expression. Therefore, you cannot dismiss it, nor is it necessary to do so. And emotion does need to be respected because it has a power that can be overpowering. We can be completely overwhelmed by emotion, and therefore we need to know how to tackle it. An emotional value, which is a subjective value, is different from an intellectual value, which is objective. Intellectually, your analysis can be clean. These are all sense objects. They do not contain any joy or security. I am insecure and remain so, whether I have sense objects or not, whether I have money or not. Therefore, I need to discover security within myself. All of this you may know, but although you know that money does not make you secure, you still have an emotional value for it. And even if you do not have an emotional value for money, an intellectual value will definitely be there because you do need to buy few things. Therefore, to say that money has no value is not correct. So he's talking about.
Shall we stop here and just do a recap of what the gist of what was studied till now?
Yeah, it's
So even a
basically.
fool can withdraw. Like it doesn't mean just by withdrawing your senses, you are a jnana nishta. Because even a fool can just withdraw his senses and do nothing and say, I'm not going after my senses. The longing or the taste for that might remain with him. And that might show up its hood sometime later. So the whole point is about eliminating even that taste, that rasa, for that longing that is deep within for that sense object,
Mhm.
to satisfy the senses.
Right, that they are talking
Because
about.
without that, you think your life is not complete, or you can't be happy. But because someone tells you meditation is important, watching a movie is not, so you might withdraw yourself for temporarily. But deep within, that vasana to watch a movie might continue to linger. And
Mhm.
unless you tackle that, that is the difference between a wise person and a person who's just, um, just withdrawing his senses. It's only suppressing it, you're not eliminating it.
The
That's,
emotional value versus the
yeah.
subjective, yeah, not objectively your sense objects. You're not triggered by sense object or suppressing by senses, but you have to really eliminate it,
Mm.
you know, controlling the emotions or.
I didn't quite understand this emotional value, although.
Yeah, the taste part, right? Like, say, for example, I have this issue with coffee, right? If I say, okay, I won't drink coffee tomorrow, I drank today, but then, and then you don't want to add sugar to it, but then you taste the coffee without sugar, it doesn't taste good for you, so you say, okay, you have to either have to mask the taste, you have to eat something, or this is how I'm battling with that right now. So I can see, what are we treating ourselves? I'm asking that question now. It is clear to me, it's just the emotional part, like where we talk about stress eating, right? Sometimes you feel like, I don't know, that emotion, that the taste is not like you so when you taste that sweetness, that gives the satisfaction in your mind that it's good feeling or something like that. So that is what the emotional part, I mean, it's connected to the mind. Our sense perception is to the mind, so that's connecting to the emotion.
Mm.
Yeah, that
That's,
taste part is connected to the happiness.
yeah. So when you eat something sweet, you feel happy, like that is, that's how I feel, like, yeah, you feel, no more craving for me after that. It's not like I'm going to keep eating chocolate or something. Even that little bit connect makes it fine. So instead of battling with my mind, oh, I want to drink coffee, I don't want to do the whole day, it works.
Yeah, I think it will get even more clear when we read about the value of money and the other aspects. So here, what I understand, Swamiji is mentioning that the emotional value is important. You cannot completely kind of emotional versus the intellectual value. Emotionally, uh, you need to give it importance, but then they do not contain any joy or insecure and remain so. Yeah, I think we'll need to revisit this again.
Ramanaji, this I think is more in line with what Gurudev says, live your life on commitment, not feelings.
Mm,
Somewhat on these same lines, right?
mm,
Yes, very important, at least for me.
Feelings can take you
mm.
all over.
But
Does
here
it not just,
Swamiji
I
is
think this
saying
is,
we need to give importance, cannot suppress.
Yeah, suppress and withdrawal, I think it's more of how you apply the wisdom. Uh, That's how I see it. Meaning, suppress means yes, it can come out sometime. But with knowledge, when you apply it, eventually it's consciously withdrawing, right? It's not suppressing. Maybe very thin line difference. So you even if given that opportunity, or you can go for it, but still that knowledge will help you to still stick on to that commitment.
Yeah.
I think it
But-
comes when you apply knowledge consciously, it starts to.
Because this sense with these sense organs give us pleasure and ultimately the happiness, and that's where the feeling emotional part comes. And we might be doing something good or bad because we feel that that will give happiness.
That will, yeah, we feel that will give happiness. Yes, momentary pleasures will come, but it's not happiness. That's why it's all limited, right? And we are seeking unlimited happiness. So eventually you will start to realize that yes, those are momentary pleasures which will come and go. But if you are able to continue with your sadhana and that commitment, you will see that you will experience that infinite joy, which is what we are seeking. Then these momentary pleasures will not really matter. Something higher, when you achieve something higher, you don't go for the lower. So that, I think with the knowledge, it will
The problem is if you base your security, your emotional satisfaction on the outside, the more you start turning inside, then you are not so dependent. Then even that vasana, that rasa for that taste for that outside object starts waning off. Otherwise, it is only suppression. So
Yeah.
therefore, the more we go within, the more we find security within. Rather than say, I'm insecure, therefore, unless I watch the movie or unless I drink my coffee with sugar, I will not feel happy. That is the thing that is binding us emotionally to that. So giving up even that rasa, that vasana, is in finding inner security. That I am secure. I am. The more we go within, then slowly. That is what is this pratyahara, no? Pratyahara is where you derive the same pleasure from within. That the pleasure that you normally get from sense satisfaction, you withdraw your senses and get that, derive that pleasure from within. You are happy from within. You're offering a different kind of food to your senses, pratyahara. So that offering the food is from within and it is not from outside.
So
Yeah, that is
we need to
true,
see
but,
the source of happiness. We need to change the source of happiness.
Correct, correct.
And
Instead
that
of going
comes with
outwardly,
jnana,
go
right?
within.
You get into knowledge, I think that again
yeah,
it reveals from inside. It will reveal that yes.
right. I think it will take some time to hold, leave alone all these worldly things, and then you're going to turn in. I mean, you're turning in, but at the same time, leaving all the things that you want to leave. It's going to drop one by one, hopefully. Yeah.
But again, maybe it's not that. Somewhere I think Bhagavan will say it's not that you have to give up all those things, or you have to, after a point, even if you enjoy that, you're not longing to enjoy it again. Yes, you enjoy it and forget it, right? Then also it's okay. It's more that attachment or longing to have it again, to look forward when this is again happening or getting or whatever. That once that goes, then it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that part where you want more, that is the problem, I think, So, I mean, at least that part, I am not doing that part, but yeah, you're right. Like that's way it is. That you don't have to feel guilty about
Till
it.
such time we are able to have that nishtha, get into the jnana nishtha, be steadfast, we will have to protect our mind with that little, how we protect the sapling with the fencing all around. We will have to ward off those things. And once we are firm, established, then the fencing doesn't really matter. Then whether you're out there in the world, it doesn't matter. But initially, in our initial sadhana days, when you're a seeker and you're still to be established, then using
Yeah,
your viveka,
that for
yeah,
the meditation part, right? That you
right.
have to take that, right? Yeah, I was reading about that meditation, how we should go back to that chapter and read it again.
What was the word used for snigdha and attachment and
Anabhisneha.
anabhisneha?
Anabhisneha. Yeah. Shall we conclude today? So we'll post the Tattva Bodh tomorrow. We'll do the Tattva Bodh tomorrow. So I request everyone to just go through listen to it at least once, so it will become more meaningful.
Would you please repost it so that it comes in the
Yeah.
front?
I'll repost it.
Thank you so much. And one thing I want to quote over here, Rishi Nityapragya always used to say, finding joy in the objects or in the senses is like finding a black cat in the dark room in the night, and the cat which is not there in the room. It is the finding joys and happiness in the outer objects and the senses is like finding a black cat, searching a black cat in the dark room in the night, and that cat the cat is not there in the room.
Here my intellect is satisfied, but not the emotion. Emotionally, still I'm attached to something which,
here
something.
he is trying to explain that finding the joy in the objects is like tamasic joy. Finding the happiness in the senses is like a rajasic joy, and finding the joy in sadhana satsang seva is the sattvic joy. But it is sattvic joy. But ultimate bliss is your own nature is ultimate bliss. So that distinction, again and again, you need to go through the knowledge and purify. Then the purification only will help us, because see, all of us, we are doing all our sadhana, seva, satsang and everything, but still, even including me, all of us, we are getting pulled for some joys here and there in the family. Some still the hooks are there in the emotion, maybe for emotional this thing, or maybe some joy in the objects or some sensual pleasures. So I don't know, it's a continuous journey, I think. Jai Gurudev.
You cannot avoid that, Madhuri ji, you cannot avoid that. But using those situations, you can have a say on your raga and dvesha. The reason why the field of activity is important is for you to have a say on your cravings and aversions, no? See, if you do not get that sense pleasure, take example, watching a movie. If you say, oh, without watching the movie, I'm not going to be happy, and you hooked on to that, then there is no difference. You're again sucked into the emotional, uh, aspect of satisfying your sense of objects, your senses. So, but if you can then have a say, if I get to watch the movie, that's fine. Unattached, you watch. If it is not happening, also, if you can still maintain your balance, then that the hold that emotional bondage has to you will slowly start getting weaker. So as grihasthas, we cannot avoid these situations, but we use them as fields of expression where we can exercise a say on our raga and dvesha, because ultimately, unless we let them lose their hold, these binding desires and non-binding desires, as long as we have non-binding desires, that is perfectly fine. It is the binding desires which will hold us back to and create more vasanas. So without coffee, can I be happy? It's because the coffee has a hold on you, isn't it? So that way, if we can exercise, then slowly our vasanas will start melting. And unless our vasanas are completely melted, we do not have respite from the samsara.
I want to just add one thing here, saying again, we can take the hidden meaning from Karmanyeva Adhikaraste also. We have our freedom to do, not to do, or do it differently. Karmanyeva Adhikaraste. And that is number one. And number two is, like what Brahmara said just now, we cannot simply live the life saying, oh, this will bring me attachment, so I will kick this out. That will get me attachment, so I will not do that. This is not the kind of a world we are living in. Okay, that is number one. And today, assuming you want to eat idli, you have something different. You have sambar, not idli sambar, you have dosa chutney. You should not hang on to that. I need only that for my. Just get on with what you have and move along. I'll be happy with a cup of coffee, but if it is not there, also okay. I can get on. That should be the balanced way. You know that doll is there in the childhood. We all saw how much ever you punch, it goes even to one direction, but stands up and come in between. That is the centeredness. That kind of a centeredness we have to achieve. You want to achieve something in the world, definitely you need to be ambitious. You want to do something, you want to achieve something. But if you achieve, fine. If you do not achieve in spite of your 100%, also fine. There you need to just make a assessment and evaluation. Why did I not achieve? Was there something I could have done better? That's it. And improve for next time. That is one. And here, a couple of things we need to understand. Whatever you even achieve, you acquire it. With all the pride, you acquire it, all happiness, but do not possess it. Thinking that if this is gone, I am gone. Let it be even a Rolls Royce car. The car is for you. You are not for the car. In the same way, we need to have that kind of a thing. And the strong awareness is whatever you are seeing will perish one day. Yat drishyam tat nashyati. So nothing is permanent. Everything is impermanent. What the best pleasure that you will be enjoying also, someone was just now saying, momentary pleasure will come and go. Yes, momentary pleasure. It is momentary. As long as you realize it is momentary and not permanent, it's okay. That kind of awareness. The awareness is the key. Working with awareness, doing things with awareness is the key that will always keep you in the balance, never allows you to go overboard just to achieve that kind of a pleasure. That is what I thought I should share. Hari Om.
See, I feel if you are getting pleasure in drinking coffee, fine. But it should not make you miserable when you don't get coffee. I think that stage will.
It makes miserable, no? Because it is an addiction. Somewhere the body shows that kind of demand because all the body functions are
Yeah,
set
yes, exactly.
in
When that
accordance.
miserable feeling comes, we should just realize, be aware that it is because of this, but this miserable feeling is not going to take over me. If you are aware of that, first time you will be, second time you will get on with it. That is what it is, like that punching doll which I said. No, yes, it will go down in the feelings or the things, whatever you call it, you'll feel low for some time, but again, like the doll comes up and stands erect again, we will stand erect. Once we feel that this miserable feeling is also temporary, that's it. That's what I was trying to
I
convey.
know we have far exceeded our Manana time today, but since we're talking about this coffee and miserable and all that, I just quickly will share my own experience. I was into drinking tea from when I was in my 9th grade, and there were several attempts to give up tea, especially after I did my first Art of Living course, and unsuccessfully I gave up several times. But then I think about 8 years ago, for my birthday, I had decided I'm going to gift myself a birthday gift, and that was giving up tea once and for all. So every time I would give up, I would end up having a very bad headache, severe migraine. But this time I said, whether migraine or no migraine, I'm not going to touch this cup of tea again. I'm going to be firm on that. I had one of the worst migraines ever. Normally, migraine lasts for 1 day for me. It lasted for 5 days. But I said, still, I'm not going to get to that cup of tea. I will find other, I'm not getting there. And after those 5 days, I'm very happy to say that the tea karma has just left. I make tea for others. I make tea for my husband or guests and all that. But I don't have the craving anymore. So it is 8 years now since I have actually had tea. And I'm happy. I mean, I've moved to herbal tea, but even that doesn't bind me. If I want to have, I have it. If it's not there, it's all right. I'm happy with a cup of water or a glass of water. So it is possible. And this is only a small example. We have so many binding desires that way that we would have to work on, but it is certainly possible. It's all in our mind. If you can control your mind, if you can have a say on your mind, you can do everything. Yeah.
Thanks, Brahmaraji.
Yeah.
What time we are meeting today?
Yeah. Today, shall we meet at 9:30?
10 o'clock or quarter to 10 is okay.
I have a yes course at 11
Okay.
o'clock.
Okay.
So those of you who want to attend the Spandakarika, please log in by what time?
9:30.
9:30. Yeah.
Okay.
Indian time?
India time is 12. 12 o'clock. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
will be there. Which today?
9:30, no? Brahmaraji,
Nine.
Bahrain
Yes,
time?
9:30.
Second session.
Second. Okay. Check with it.
Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Jai Gurudev.
Dhanyavad.